We've all been there, right? That feeling of being stuck, that suffering that just seems to creep in. But what if I told you the source isn't really what's happening to us, but how we're holding onto it? Today, we're going to dig into an answer that's thousands of years old. And you know what? It's being confirmed by modern science right now. So, have you ever felt like you're stuck in a mental loop? It's like a hamster wheel in your brain that you just can't seem to get off. It's that endless loop of anxious thoughts, or replaying conversations over and over again, or just worrying about the future. It is absolutely exhausting, and it is a completely universal human thing. And look, what's so important to see here is just how ordinary these loops are. We are not talking about some huge life crisis. No, it's waking up at 3 a.m., your mind racing, replaying something you said. It's that compulsive need to check your phone for a text. It's holding on so tightly to a past that, let's be honest, is already gone. These small, everyday loops, they are the real engine of our suffering. So this brings us to a really foundational idea from Buddhist philosophy, the second noble truth. See, after the Buddha established that, yep, suffering is just part of life, he asked the next logical question. Okay, but where does it actually come from? And the answer is just surprisingly simple. The source of our suffering is what's called craving and clinging. Now wait, this isn't just about big things like addictions. Not at all. It's about our internal reaction, that deep, almost unconscious wanting for things to be different than they actually are. It's that gap between reality and what we wish reality was. That's what fuels the fire. So how does this ancient idea hold up today? Well, it turns out neuroscience has a pretty compelling explanation. What the Buddha called clinging, modern science might call a cortisol loop. Let's break down exactly what's happening inside your body and your brain. Okay, think of your nervous system as having two basic modes. First, you've got the child brain. It's fast, it's reactive, and it's built for one thing: survival. Its primary instinct is to grip and hold on for dear life, because for thousands of years, letting go could be dangerous. And then you've got the adult brain, or what I like to call the conductor. It's slow, responsive, and it's capable of just observing and guiding. So here's how this vicious cycle works. First, your child brain senses a threat, and that could just be uncertainty or a little disappointment, and its instinct is to grip. This grip floods your system with the stress hormone cortisol. And here's the kicker. Cortisol basically acts like an off switch for your calm adult brain, your conductor. And with the conductor offline, well, the child brain's grip just tightens and the whole stressful loop starts all over again. So what is it that fuels this loop? Well, Buddhist philosophy gets even more specific here, identifying three very distinct types of craving. And the idea is really simple. When you can name the engine that's driving your suffering, you start to take its power away. First, there's the obvious one, craving for pleasure. This is when a simple preference like, I'd like to get that promotion, turns into a desperate requirement. I cannot be okay without it. Second, and this one might surprise you, is the craving for non-existence. This is that desperate need for a painful feeling to just go away. It's the anxiety you feel about your anxiety. And third, there's the craving for becoming. This is that classic I'll be happy when loop, which keeps our sense of peace forever out there in the future.
Okay, so how does all of this actually show up in our emotional lives? Well, we can use this whole framework as a kind of personal diagnostic tool. We just need to look at 4 specific, really powerful emotions that are particularly good at hijacking our system.
Let's dive into these 4 heavy hitters. You see, there are 4 emotions that are especially good at knocking our conductor offline. Anxiety, that's just craving for certainty. Anger, that's the craving for reality to be different than it is. Shame, that's a deep craving to be seen differently by others. And that looping sorrow, which is very different from healthy grief, that's just clinging to what was. It's the inability to let go that really causes the pain. Okay, so if clinging and gripping are the problem, what's the solution? Do we just stop caring? Absolutely not. That is one of the biggest misunderstandings out there. The goal isn't detachment. It's about loosening the grip so we can learn to act with skill and wisdom. And here is the crucial difference. You can hold things, your hopes, your relationships, your life, with open hands. That's your conductor being fully present with what is. Or you can grip them, white-knuckled, absolutely terrified of losing them. That's the child brain. The suffering doesn't come from the holding, it always comes from the grip. The Buddha used this beautiful metaphor for this whole idea. He said a raft is incredibly useful for crossing a river, right? But once you get to the other side, you don't pick it up and carry it on your back for the rest of the journey. You leave it behind. Clinging is exactly that. It's carrying that raft, that old conversation, that past worry, long after it has served any purpose. So what can you actually do in that moment when you feel that grip? Here's a super simple 2-step practice. First, just name it, without any judgment. Just say to yourself, okay, I am craving certainty right now. Just naming it creates a little space. Second, ask a gentle question. Is this truly in my hands? And if it's not, you can place a hand on your chest, take a long, slow breath out, and just tell yourself, I can put the raft down now. So just remember this. The suffering is rarely the thing that happened. It's the grip. It's the story we tell ourselves, the mental loop we get stuck in. And that grip always is something you have the power to loosen, one breath at a time. So let me ask you, what raft are you carrying today that you might just be able to set down?